नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमा ओं विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्यनाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णकरुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्त राधा कान्त नमोऽस्तुते। तप्तकाञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्णा कृष्ण कृष्णा हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। Welcome all of you for the Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani session today. So we are proceeding to the fourth chapter. Something very extraordinary and very interesting understanding is presented in the fourth chapter. Even I was very amazed to learn certain formulae in this chapter, which I have never heard before. One such point is, from a purity point of view, the performance of, calling of the holy name, occasionally like Ajamila called out, or like that one Muslim who was attacked by a boar called out. Occasionally, like Draupadi called out. We all know that this is like one spike in our consciousness. The normal life is going on, you felt a great danger. Krishna, like that somebody called. From a beauty point of view, that is considered special because one is completely taking shelter of the Lord at that time. But from consistency point of view, even if you are a motivated devotee, but if you are regularly performing devotional service, regularly, Nityam Bhagavate Sevaya, and that type of regular performance of devotional service with motivations leads to regular unmotivated service. Is it not a news for you? Think about it, how thrilling it is to know this. So now, when I heard this, I was so thrilled. And the example is Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj had material motivation, but what was his specialty? His specialty is two things. He surrendered to a Vaishnava Guru, and he obeyed him, his instructions, number one. Number two, he performed regular motivated service. Because his goal was not Vishnu. His goal was Dhruvaloka, getting a kingdom. That was his goal. But you can see that how Dhruv Maharaj, he performed the penance for getting that goal. But the beauty is he became a pure devotee. It became unmotivated service. What is the proof? He later on spelled out that famous verse, which will be shown today also. He lost the material motivation. So that means Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Ananya Chetaha Satatam Yo Mam Smarati Nityashaha Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Three times the word is repeated. Ananya Chetaha Satatam. Satatam means always one should perform devotion service. Yo Mam Smarati Nityashaha. Second time the word Nitya. Tasyaham Sulabha Partha Nitya Yuktasya Yogina. Three times the regularity is emphasized. Another verse Krishna says, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridavrataha. He says, with determination he perform devotion service, but not occasionally. Satatam kirtayan, always he's saying, perform devotion service. Like that he is saying. So, in this way, you will find in the scriptures the word nityam or satatam emphasized. I heard a little story about one boy who studied in a Gurukula, who was rejected by the Guru because he felt this boy is not fit for Gurukula. He is not sufficiently cultured. He is not sufficiently sincere and serious in his Gurukula training program. So he was turned away by the Guru. So on the way back, this boy saw one lady who was drawing water from a well below the ground level. She was drawing water like this. So that rope was touching the stone. When she was pulling it, it was upbraiding over the stone. And the boy was amazed because the stone was upbraiding and forming a dent in the stone. So he thought the stone is harder and rope is softer. Still, the soft rope is able to make a dent in the stone. Huh? What does this show? Huh? This teaches us a very important lesson. Huh? That because if the rope keeps on again and again going over the stone, it is able to make a impression. Just like we say in a pattar ke lakir, we say, no? If an ant is going over a stone repeatedly in the same route, gradually it forms a kind of line. Huh? So this is the beauty of abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grishyate. Yeah? So by abhyas, Krishna, therefore practice maketh a man perfect, it is said. So even though our service will be performed with motivation, we don't have to worry too much about it. Okay, there is motivation, but regularly are you performing devotion service? That's what you. So this is the highlight of the session. I have told you right in the beginning itself. It was such an enthusiastic point for me. I just couldn't hide the truth from you. I've spoken it. Now I will show you the slideshow now. See, this is a whole book, Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani book, introduction, mixed devotion service, pure devotion service, stages of pure devotion, qualification to hear Krishna's pastimes, and path of perfection. So in this, we were in the introduction was over, then we were in B, mixed devotion service. In mixed devotion service, and of course this A is over, introduction. In mixed devotion service, there are 5 chapters in which I have finished 3, and this is the one we are going to do today, the 4th one, semblance of devotion. So, in this, we will cover half of this chapter in this sitting, and second half we will cover it in the next sitting. It appears that each of these chapters might take about 2 sittings, like the third one also took us 2 sittings. So, a semblance of devotional service means bhakti abhas. So, 4 impure motives for devotion. Please read it.
4 impure motives for devotion.
You can come here nearby. So that, here, you can sit and read it.
The indirect path to Krishna, three types of Bhakti
This
Abhasa.
one. Yeah. Introduction.
Introduction. The main strengths given by shadow of pure faith are that it connects one to Bhakta, Bhakti, and Bhagavan. It facilitates regular and submissive contact with pure Vaishnavas, Bhakta.
So this is the point. See, the main strength of shadow of purified, that is Shraddha Abbas, we call it. That means the Shraddha is not full Shraddha now. It is actually like a shadow of Shraddha, a little bit Shraddha he has in spiritual items. Hmm. When it connects a person, Jiva, to Bhakti and Bhagavan, the first one is Bhakta. It facilitates regular and submissive contact with pure Vaishnava. See this boy, Dasiputra, he's looking at his mother offering namaskar to the Bhakti Vedantas. So he's also offering namaskar to them. And regularly for the Chaturmas period, he was on the order of his mother, bringing prasad to them and washing the plates. Very submissive service he did for Vaishnavas. So, although the boy is a simple boy, small boy, not advanced in devotional principles, when he did the regular and submissive service to them, he made tremendous advancement and went on to become Narada in the next life. So, in this way, this is the advantage. Even though we may have Shraddha Abbas, there is no problem. Because that Shraddha Abbas gradually can be enhanced. Just like if there's a small spark of fire in the furnace, you can blow, with a you can blow the wind and make it bigger. The second one, yeah,
It invokes the potency of devotional service, Bhakti.
that is the second important thing. That is, the devotion service path is very, very powerful, very potent. Like you can see how powerful it is. You want to know? I given. Huh? PPT is not shared. Huh? So we can please tell to share PPT. How to share? Yeah, whom I should tell?
Zoom. Share screen.
Oh, okay. Okay, just a minute. Yeah. Okay, now I'm sharing the PPT. All right. Okay. Okay. Now I'm sharing in Zoom also. Okay. So you will see that the devotion service is so powerful. This is a very important thing to hear. Therefore, in Nectar of Devotion, we come to understand that I don't know how much time I can devote on this slide because there are too many glories of the path of bhakti. I have, whatever is in the top of my mind, I'll quickly share a few of them. One example is even Swalpam Apyasya Dharmasya Trayate Mahato Bayat. Even if you do little devotional service, you know the story of that rat, which thought it's a butter. So he put his mouth and then his mustache got slightly burnt. He actually went to eat butter, but then he jumped up and made the wick come out and glow a little brightly, and the Lord liberated the rat. In this way, even little devotional service, or a squirrel render little devotional service in building the Setu Bandha. That is one of the glories of devotional service. In the same manner, another glory of devotion service is that it is never destroyed. Once performed, it's a permanent asset. It will always be with you. Birth after birth, life after life. Therefore, he says, Purva Abhyasena Tenaiva Kriyate Hi Avashopi Sakha Jignasarapi Yogasya Shabda Brahmadivartate. He says, Purva Abhyasena. He says, the previous life, what you have done. Tatra Tam Buddhi Samyogam Labate Paurva Dehikam. Paurva Dehikam means from the previous Deha. And you are continuing devotion service in this life. Therefore, you get tremendous determination, he says. This is another glory of path of devotion, devotion service. Yeah. And another glory of devotion service is, even if you simply desire to do devotion service, it is as good as doing it. There are many, many great devotees who desire to do something. And they did Manasa Puja, like the Pratishana for Brahmana. Just he made a sweet rice in the mind and just put his finger in the mind only. But then, it was so hot, he jumped up and Lord Narayana laughed, and Lakshmi ji told Narayana to share why he is laughing. When he told the story, Lakshmiji requested, please bring that Brahmana back to Vaikuntha. The Antarang Shakti is always most merciful. Then immediately Narayana brought him back to Vaikuntha. Uh, in this way, you can see that even if you do Manasa Puja, that can take you back to Vaikuntha. Another glory of devotion service is even if you fail in your endeavors, you still can get Vaikuntha. That is Jatayu. Jatayu failed in his attempt materially in defeating Ravana. But Ram was sufficiently satisfied by his mere attempt and endeavor to save Sita. That took him back to Godhead. Uh, you can see that. So in this way, the path of Bhakti Yoga is very, very potent. One of the glories is mentioned here in the slide, if you see. mm, like uh, the brown box is given, you see here, which talks about uh, you know uh, it's coming there, it's not coming there. If I share it, it's not coming in the this thing. This is not coming. That's coming now. Why is not coming? uh, so new YouTube read. So what this box shows that the deer, Bharat Maharaj became a deer, but although he became a deer, he is remembering all these things. You can see that the next life of the deer clearly shows the potency of the bhakti is very, very great, because he remembered the past life and sincerely repented. Mm. He was born in a place called Kalanjira, but he left the birthplace and went to Palaharshrama in order to detach himself. He's a detached deer. Yeah. He There also he didn't mix with other deers, but he associated with saintly people. That goes to show he was, avoiding bad association. And instead of eating lushy green grass, he was eating dry grass. That goes to show his austerity, isn't it? And he always cried, Aho Kashtam. He chants in one prayer, what a fool I was. He was sincerely having remorse and repentance. So all these things, you can see, give us a clear indication that the path of bhakti is very potent. Life after life, it reminds you of Krishna. And eventually, Prabhupada says, it drags one back to God. Prabhupada uses the word drags and nectar of instruction books to God. Very soon. Yeah. Yeah. So this is the third one. Yeah, did it?
It invokes the Lord's mercy.
Yeah. Actually, this is Bhagavan. So Bhakta, Bhakti, Bhagavan. All the three are available for even those who perform shadow of purified Shraddha Bhas also. So Lord's mercy is very, very great. Bhuri Karunaya, Muktaya, Bhuri Karunaya, Namolayaya. Like that Gajendra says. So Bhuri Karunaya actually means his mercy is extraordinary. He has an ocean of grace. Although he is himself in a liberated position, Lord is not proud. And he is very, very merciful to take the devotee back to Godhead. That means, Lord says, you make a little effort and I am always available to you. Mat chitta sarvadurgani mat prasadat tarishyasi atachet pamahankaram nashroshasi virakshasi. Lord says that by my prasada you will come back to me. By my mercy I will take you back to Godhead. And then when Arjuna asked, in my struggle, Krishna, what if I fall down? Will I be gone like a riven cloud? Krishna said, no. What he said? Ahi kalyana krit kaschit durgatim tata gachati. You are a kalyana krit. You are doing auspicious activity of devotion service. How will you be lost, Arjuna? Impossible. You will always be protected by me. I am always available for you. So Krishna gave that assurance to Arjuna. So in this way you find these are the three things mentioned about the strengths of Shraddhabhas. So I will summarize all the three here. Read below these three things.
These three things, especially the company of pure Vaishnavas, gradually qualify aspirants for pure devotional service, the careful practice of which bestows the ultimate goal of life.
So company of Shuddha Bhaktas. And why that is highlighted out of the three? Because if you have the company of Shuddha Bhaktas, you have all other things. Bhakti is connected to it, and Bhagavan is also connected. You will find all the Bhagavatam pastimes, you will find there is Bhagavan, there is Bhakta, and there is Bhakti in all the pastimes. But if you get Bhakta, you get everything. Or because you can't say if you get Bhagavan, you get Bhakti. No, because the Kanishadikaris get Bhagavan, but they don't know how to associate with devotees, pure devotees, and gain advantage. Similarly, if one gets little bhakti also, you don't know how pure it is. There are 81 types of bhakti mentioned by Rupa Goswami. So, therefore, out of the three, if you have to catch one, take one. So, you take Bhakta, Shuddha Bhakta. So, Shuddha Bhakta has both Bhagavan. Like we say, no, Krishna say Tomar, Krishna dite par. Tomara Shakati Ache. You have the power to possess Krishna and bestow Krishna to suffering souls who are aspiring to associate with pure devotee. So pure devotee carries Krishna in his heart. Tomara Hriday Sada, Govinda Vishram. So therefore he is already carrying Krishna in his pocket, in his heart. He can bestow Krishna to you. So that is one advantage. And he is connected to that Lord with great bhakti. Because his bhakti bhava is so great that Lord is charmed. Therefore he stays with him. Like wherever there is a pure devotee, Lord is running after the devotee. You can see Madhavendra Puri is simply sitting and chanting in Govind Kund, and Krishna is going to give him milk. You can see Madhavendra Puri is going away to, Nilachal, and Ramana, Lord Gopinath is running after him. Sending him a pot of kheer, sweet rice. You can see that. So in this way, where the bhakta is, there is Shuddha Bhakti as well as Bhagavan. Okay. Uh, Now, each person's path from Shraddha Abhas to Bhakti Abhas and Shuddha Bhakti is unique, he says. Why? There is a reason for it. Because the karmic past is different for all of us. Different people carry different type of karmic account. We don't know. And also we all have different unwanted attachments due to the gunas. The karanam gunasangosya sadasat yoni janmasu. Sad yoni means human and demigods, or higher. Actually, sad yoni, simple definition is any body which can facilitate you to practice spiritual life and go back to Godhead. That is sad yoni. And animals and birds and reptiles and all those insects and all are considered as sad yoni in general. Don't say what about Hanuman, what about Garuda. Don't ask those things. Those are all exceptions. In general, we are talking. So due to the combination of modes, we are influenced by the gunas and unwanted attachments, and our karmic past is different. Yeah. So the aim of the chapter is here: varieties and stages of practice. Such souls pass from Bhakti Avas to Shuddha Bhakti. Actually, Shraddha Avas, we already studied it before. Then the Bhakti Avas. The Shraddha matures as Bhakti Avas. Then it goes to Shuddha Bhakti stage. Now onwards, it will be very simple now. From here, you will see 4 impure motives of devotion, you know it. Yeah. This is the first one. You all know this famous verse. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukrutno arjuna. There are 4 types of people who come to Krishna. And these are called motivated persons, or we can say mixed devotees. So, read that what Prabhupada is saying here.
Srila Prabhupada often said that fools remained undiscovered as long as they do not speak. Bhagavad Gita as it is 254 purport. Similarly, mixed devotees pass for true Vaishnavas only until they expose their ulterior motives. Great souls learned in the science of devotion easily distinguish crow-like neophytes from swan-like Vaishnavas. Krishna himself classifies the 4 pious but materially motivated persons who approach him with a semblance of faith.
So here, the 2 points striking here. He says that the fools remain undiscovered as long as they do not speak. Because the quality of words that emanate from a person's mouth gives a indication of what type of person one is. Like a diseased person is coughing, mucus, and all that. Or a rich person wears costly dresses and travels in big cars and lives in a posh bungalow and everything, by the lifestyle and food and the dress he wears. Similarly, we can easily see when a person opens his mouth, what does he stand for, what are his values, what is his character. So, and the example of a crow and a swan is given. Uh, so the crow like people are materialists in general, and swan like Vaishnavas compared to Vaishnavas. But here, he is using the example of crow like neophytes, he says, which means even the neophyte devotees, those are coming as kanishthas also, they have certain material leanings. They consider material qualifications as more important than spiritual qualifications. So therefore he is mentioning that. So then it's mixed devotion, it's not pure. And then Krishna says, out of the four, who is best, he says? Tesham Jnani Nityavta. Jnani is best, he says. So we will learn about Jnani in the coming slides. So here these are the four examples. You all know very well. This is Gajendra along with his society of elephants. All these relatives, friends, everybody. So such a Gajendra is compared to selfish workers. Their prime goal is to enjoy the fruits of their endeavors. Business magnates, big fellows. And he was very majestic, he had prestige, he had social status, and he had the kingship, political position in the forest. Even the lions would salute him. He was such a powerful leader of the forest. So, but suddenly, sometimes people, even in such a position, suddenly they get a heart attack, or suddenly they come to know that they got a brain tumor, they fell unconscious and things like that. So you will find that's the way the material world is. Padam padam, et vipadam natesham. Anytime any danger can come. So when suddenly such a danger comes, like you see in the picture here, his leg was caught by a crocodile. So he became very distressed, Artha. Then he called out the Lord for help. So in this way, the previous devotional service was revived. But then in a miserable situation, remember the Lord. Therefore, it is mixed devotion. It says, uh, because generally people think of the Lord only when they are in danger. Dukkame sumarana sabukare, as we say. So then the second one. So the first category are called the selfish people who always think about themselves, but occasionally they think of the Lord. And those who desire the material gain, artharthi, they want to enjoy this world, worldly pleasures like wealth, fame, sex, and heaven, all these things, and to achieve, enhance, and preserve a heavenly standard of living. They undertake the ritualistic worship of Krishna. That means they worship the Lord for enhancing their material life. In fact, people openly ask, like I was sitting in one of the temples in Vivevadi, Datta Mandir. I was giving a class for about 8, 10 youths were there on that day. So some youths came, group of them came to worship Dattatreya. So after they worship, they were about to leave. I told them, please sit down, join our class. And the boy, leader of the group of 4, 5 boys, he asked me, okay, sir, I don't mind sitting, joining your class, but will I get good marks? Can I get better marks if I attend your classes? Will you give some tips how to increase my grade? I said, oh, I told him, you sit down, attend the class and chant Hare Krishna, everything will improve. Your health will improve, your habits will improve, your marks will improve, and you will get good place and also everything will come. But first you should surrender to Krishna, because if you have Krishna, you will have everything. Of course, then they sat down, the whole group sat down after that. They were very frankly asked. So, because these people are very business-like people. Okay, I will only connect with God if I can get something out of Him. So, Dhruva Maharaj had nothing to give and take with Lord Vishnu. But as you see in the picture here, he saw that, oh, my brother is able to sit in the father's lap and my stepmother wants him to acquire the kingdom. But I will get a kingdom bigger than my great grandfather Brahma also. So therefore, Artharthi people go to Vishnu. Then there are Jignasu people, as you see here. Uh, they are pious people. They were performing yajna, and their faces are becoming black. And they were not very sure of the result, whether we will go to heaven or not. And they weren't sure about the ultimate goal also, whether to go to heaven or Vaikuntha. They were not knowing much. They were ignorant about it. So but they are very pious because they are performing yajna. At the time when Sutta Goswami came, they all requested him to speak on the Bhagavatam, and they got very enlightened. Enlivened. Mahattam, they are saying, Tanno Bhavan Vai Bhagavat Pradano Mahattamaikanta Parayanasya Hare Rudaram Charitam Vishuddham Shushrushyatam no Pituno to Vidvan. Like the two verses they will say, where they are very, very enthusiastic. They are saying that, the Bhagavatam you are speaking is so nectarian, Amritamaya. And we are very confident of attaining the spiritual world. Even now we are already feeling as if we have attained it by hearing your katha only. We are very thankful to you. So in this way, they were jignasu, inquisitive about Krishna. So they were dissatisfied by the teachings of secular scriptures. Secular scriptures means, there are so many people who, without bringing God, they are telling you how to lead a very happy life in this material world. They are not happy with that. See, the second category of people, which I told you, they want to lead a happy life using God, in the material world. The second category. The third category of people, they are fed up with trying to increase the standard of life in this world. But they are curious to turn to God to get a clear understanding of God, why at all this world is created. Because even if we improve the comfort to some degree, again there is birth, old age, disease, death, and all that. Dukkha dosha darshanam, Krishna says. So these fellows are more intelligent than the second category. Second category only strives to either have a better material comforts or better, they even may want to know about how we can learn some techniques and tools for having a better interpersonal relationships and better married life, and better raising children, and better money making facility and all that. That is second category. The third category, people are not satisfied with such secular scriptures which teach about dharma, artha, kama. They actually want to turn to God to understand what is beyond, why He created this world. Yeah. And the fourth category, as you see here, they are jnanis, and Krishna says these are the best fellows. These are not Mayavadis. Otherwise, Krishna won't include them in his list. Mayavadis are Maya, Apurta, Jnana, who comes in the next verse after the Chaturvida. Chaturvida bhajante mam jana sukritno jana arto jigyasu artharthi jnani chabarata rishava. And then what he says? Tesham jnani nityukta eka bhakti vishishyate, and all that he says. And then he says, Namam dushkritno mudha prapadyante naradhama maya aparita jnana. There also jnana is there, here also jnani is there. So that jnana is actually Mayavadi. Whereas this jnani is a Brahmavadi. What is the difference? There are two types of Brahmavadis and two types of Mayavadis also. The Brahmavadis are people, one category of Brahmavadi feels that God, personality of God, Vishnu or Krishna, he is the ultimate person. And then he can also award me moksha. Moksha se karma bandhanehi. So they approach Lord, Supreme Lord, begging him that please bestow moksha for me. I can be liberated. That's one category. And the second category of Brahmavadis are like Kumaras or like Shukadeva Goswami, who stumbled across in their life like jnanis, and then they became bhaktas. Even Billamangal comes in the category also, same category. Like here you see the picture, Lakshmi and Vishnu are coming and seeing their beauty and their delicate beauty and their charm. Kumaras are stunned. You see how they're watching. See the picture. All the Vishnudas are coming along with them. So they were jnanis who turned into devotees. So this is the second category of Brahmavadis. And in Mayavadis, there are two categories. One type of Mayavadi is offender. Mayavadi, Krishna Paradi. Both are Krishna Paradi. These fellows want moksha without depending on the personality of Godhead. Aruhya Pitrena Param Padam Tataha Patantiyado. That's one category. Another category of Mayavadi is an offender because he declares Krishna's body to be material like us, our body. So they go to hell. So So those are two Mayavadis. So now what these people do is strictly practicing celibacy, austerity, they acquire knowledge, and they are inspired by the wisdom, they turn to Krishna and serve him. You see how this is developing these four things. First, if you see, first one was artho. Only in suffering they remember the Lord. Other times they say, oh, I am too busy, I have so many things to do. They are like that. And I will work hard and enjoy. That is the artha fellow. Artharthi means understand. I worked already hard, but I couldn't enjoy. So what I do? I turn to Lord. Because if I turn to Lord, if He smiles at me, then my business profits will be shooting up. So the second fellows are better than first fellows, because first fellows occasionally come only for artha time and they suffer. Second category people understand that any success in this world you want to attain, you have to include Lord in your program. Use the Lord, include the Lord in your program. So it will become very successful. Go to Tirupati Balaji, they say, sir, every year I go to pray to him before I start my business, like the people say. They make him a business partner. And the third category of people, they are fed up with material successes and secular literatures and all that. So they want to know who God is, why He created the world, and also they want to know what is soul, what is body. So the third category, Jignasu, wants to know about the soul, and Jnani wants to know about God. Because the Jnani already knows about soul body difference, but he wants to know about God. So he's the most evolved is Jnani out of the four. So yeah, these are, for example, summarized in one page from a Nectar of Devotion. Prabhupada gives these examples. See the first three lines, you read that? That's very important.
It is important to note that the above four classes, Krishna particularly extols the Jnanis because they serve in knowledge of him.
Yeah, this is very important. Serving Krishna with knowledge is very important. If you serve with knowledge, then you can serve him consciously, with full understanding, and it will not be blind faith. Because he says sarvavit, Krishna says, in that yo mameva sammudo janati purushottamam sa sarvavit bhajati mam sarvabhavena bharata. He becomes all knowing. If you know Krishna, you know everything. Yasmin vigyarte sarvamevam vigyatum bhavati. It is said, if you know Lord, you know everything. So therefore, the fourth fellow is the knowledge of Krishna. He gains knowledge of Krishna. And he falls in love with Krishna because of that. Yeah. Now, this is important. This has to be understood carefully. See, by addressing these four kinds of worshippers as pious, Sukritino Arjuna, Krishna is telling. Krishna acknowledges that piety results in activities that lead to him. But what type of piety is it? Here Jiva Goswami defines, what is that piety that leads to Krishna? What is that piety that does not lead one to Krishna? See, those people who are impious people, in times of threat or danger, or even to make more money and everything, they will never go to Krishna. They will think that with my strength, I will achieve things in life. Work hard and enjoy. It's called as karmavad, we call it. That is the dushkritana people. But pious people, you will see, whenever there's a danger, whom do they think first? They think of Krishna immediately. So in this way, he says, piety is an asset attained by engaging in activities that lead to pure devotion. Like that Jiva Goswami is saying. So Jiva Goswami is not saying piety means just turning to Lord with mixed devotion. He's saying that piety means that which eventually should lead us to Shuddha Bhakti. Otherwise, piety is useless. Piety should lead us to Krishna. Like one time I went to an Vaishya group of people. I had chosen a topic, science and spirituality. So when I suggested them the topic, they said, sir, can you slightly modify the topic? They asked me, what is the topic? They said, you can make it piety for prosperity. Like that they made it. So people generally want piety not to turn to Krishna, but for prosperity. Basically, they are saying dharma for artha. That's all they are saying. Not dharma for parodharma. Krishna says, sarvadharman parityajya mamekam saranamraja. So I want to take them from dharma to parodharma, but they wanted dharma to artha only. They say, oh, we are not ready for parodharma yet. So therefore Jiva Goswami says that actually the dharma should lead to parodharma eventually. नेह यत् कर्म धर्माय न विरागाय कल्पते न तीर्थपद सेवायै जीवन अपि मृतो हि सः. He says. He's saying if you are doing neha yat karma, your job in the office, college, school, wherever you are working, that should lead you to dharma. Why dharma? Because when you work in this world, gradually understand the world is a mixture of sukha, dukkha, shita, ushna, mana, apamana. You start getting questions in your mind. What is righteous life? What is sinful life? I want to lead a righteous life. Then neha yat karma dharmaya. Karma leads to dharma. And then that dharma, if you are performing regularly, gradually you develop detachment from the bad things, that which are not anukul for spiritual life. So now viragaya kalpate. Virag is produced there. Detachment from the wrong things, bad things, and attachment to the right things, like that. And then na tirthapada sevai. And that leads one to come close to devotees, Lord's devotees. And coming close to Lord's devotees takes them to Krishna. If this sequence of steps doesn't happen, he's saying, Jivan navi mrito hi saha, he's saying, then a person's, what do you call it, although he is like breathing, he is not considered a living man, he is considered dead, he says like that. So these steps should come. Karma should lead to dharma, dharma should lead to vairagya, vairagya should lead to bhakta sangha, bhakta sangha should lead to Bhagavan. So these steps are very important. Yeah. In this way, and then the Bhakti Tattva Viveka, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that activities that are connected to transcendental personalities and that give rise to an intense desire to perform bhakti, they are called Sukriti. What a beautiful definition. Actually, you don't assume Sukriti to be a simple word like pious. Oh, he gives some charity to beggars, so he has Sukriti. No, those are all mundane Sukriti. Real Sukriti is two conditions he is saying. Your activity should be connected to transcendental personalities, either Lord or the devotee. It has to be connected in relation to Lord or devotee. And then it should also give rise to intense desire to perform bhakti. That means it should produce a desire in you. I want to do bhakti for the Lord. Or you connect to the devotee. Oh, I want to become a devotee like him and perform devotional service. Then you are called pious. Sukritine. Yeah. Here, the difference between piety and impiety, as well as material piety versus spiritual piety, will be explained now onwards. It will become very clear. Yeah, please read this.
This spiritual piety, which awakens pure, devotion, is bhakti unmukhi sukriti. It is distinct from material piety, which bestows either material opulence or the ability to merge into the impersonal Brahman. Material piety may be a catalyst for the performance of spiritual piety, but it is never a cause of devotion. Therefore, when the Bhagavad Gita mentions four kinds of pious persons who turn to Krishna, we should assume that each of them has gathered enough spiritual piety to do so.
Actually, here is a very important point is saying, you know, material piety may act as a catalyst for uh, spiritual piety, but it can never be a cause of devotion. So that I'm not going to explain now why, because in the future slides it's coming now. Next slides examples are coming, it will become very easy. And material piety and spiritual piety, how is it different? Material piety means bhukti, mukti, siddhi. That's all one is looking for. And spiritual piety means bhakti. Very clear distinction. Now there are people who, in this world, Purva Janma Arjita Punyam Agre Davati Davati, Prabhupada writes this. If you do some punya, people know that. If you do some dana dharma, it's going to come manifold. Like Prabhupada says, if you give 1 rupee to a beggar now, next life it will be 1,000 rupees you will get, like that. And if you give to a Brahmana, you may get 10,000 rupees. Give to a Vaishnava, you will get 1 lakh rupees, like that. So people know that. So therefore people give charity. You will see in our country, it's very natural for people. Whenever they see somebody suffering, they give. So with the desire for bhakti, earthly or heavenly, or mukti, liberation from all suffering, or siddhi means gaining some control, some power, some siddhis and all that. So that is material piety. It doesn't go beyond that. But spiritual piety means you want to do bhakti intense devotion to the Lord. So it makes it very clear the difference. So these four people are approaching Krishna. He is saying that they have gathered some spiritual piety. Therefore, they are doing bhakti for Krishna. That's important. They are not bhukti, mukti, or siddhi. They are going to whom? Yeah, bhakti. Actually, if you want bhakti, mukti, siddhi, people may not come to Krishna also. You see Ravana, where is he going? Huh? You see Hiranyakashipu, where is he going? Huh? Because these guys wanted a bhakti, mukti, siddhi. Is it not true? Huh? Whereas these four fellows are coming to whom? Krishna. That means, it's not an ordinary thing. Somebody may say, but he's coming to Krishna for bhakti, mukti, siddhi. No. Even though he's coming, therefore it's called mixed devotion. But still, they have that special sukriti to approach Krishna, the Supreme Lord, which is not an easy thing. Therefore, Krishna says, Manushyanam sahasreshu kashit yatati siddhi, he says. So those who come to Krishna are very, very rare. Yeah. Yeah. I can read this one. Defining?
Defining piety and impiety. In Vedic society, pious is defined as the tendency to follow scriptural injunctions and to situate oneself properly in the Varnashrama social order, of which Krishna is the ultimate beneficiary.
Amazing definition. No? Who is a pious person in Vedic society? Modern time people have their own idea what is pious. Here he says here, pious means who? He's saying we should have the tendency to follow scriptures. If you follow scriptures in the word of God, you're following, then you're pious. For what purpose, sir? To situate oneself in proper Varnashrama social order. That means every one of us should say, I am a brahmachari or a grihastha. One should be situated properly. And also you should do a varna by which you earn money and do your duty also. For example, a grihastha earns money and gives to other three orders, like that. Similarly, what a brahmachari should do. So in this way, they are situated according to varna and ashrama, and they have a faith in the scriptures. And then ultimately they know varna ashrama achara purushena parapuman vishnu radhatapanta nanyata tosha karanam samsiddhir haritoshanam, like that words are used. Sve sve karmani abhiratah samsiddhim labate narah swa karmah nirta siddhim yatha vindit tachunu yatah pravritir bhutanam yena sarvamidam tatam swakarmana tam abhyarchya siddhim vindati manavah. Same meaning. All our fruit should be offered to the Supreme Lord. That is the meaning of the Vedic society piety. Piety, two things he says. That means have faith in scriptures and follow Varnashrama. If you do these two things, you are a pious person in Vedic life. Yeah. And then whether it is for bhakti, mukti, siddhi, no problem. Inevitably, ultimately, you will come in contact with the Lord only. You will see that. And then the Vedic life teaches you to be submissive to higher authorities like sannyasis, brahmanas, and demigods. On the contrary, there are many people who want bhakti, mukti, siddhi, but they don't go to Vedic scriptures. They don't have faith in the scriptures. They don't follow Varnashrama also. They are trying to gain material goods, facilities by their own endeavor. So they are Nastik. So there is Nastik, Astik, Shuddha Bhakta, three levels. So here we are talking about Astik. Astik means one who has faith in the Vedic scriptures, and also one who has faith in the authorities like sannyasis, brahmanas, demigods, and follow the Varnashrama, correct, no? Then he's a pious person, you can say. See this picture, husband and wife, they have a cow, they are worshipping mother cow like Gopuja, and they are worshipping all the Indras and the Varuna Vayu Devatas, and above all of them there is Krishna on the top. Then they are getting sunlight, moonlight, rains, everything. And the facilities they are getting, and they are grateful for the facility. They are followers of scriptures. They agree with scriptures. So this is a pious person, you can say. Yeah, I can read this. Another interesting point is coming.
Indiscriminate material piety leads to spiritual piety. Materially motivated persons engaged in pious deeds, digging wells, giving in charity, chanting mantras, observing vows, and reading scriptures, also knowingly or unknowingly performed devotional acts that become the source of their spiritual piety.
See, therefore the word indiscriminate is used in the beginning. While doing material piety, they may not know the difference between what is material piety, what is spiritual piety. They do some pious deeds. For example, digging well is simple material piety. because they are digging well for the welfare of the public or something like that, isn't it? And similarly, dan they are giving, chanting some mantra, yajna, dana, tapasya, pavanani, manishinam, they get purified. And sometimes they go to study scriptures like that. Some children, parents tell them to memorize chapter 15 of Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9 and chapter 12 and all. So in this way, they're reading scriptures. So knowingly, unknowingly, they're performing devotional acts. They don't even know it's devotional act. Whereas here, the devotional act means is saying giving charity to Vaishnavas, observing Ekadashi vow, participating in yajna, especially dedicated to Lord Vishnu, and chanting Hare Krishna mantra, or some holy names of Lord Krishna or Vishnu, and listening to Srimad Bhagavatam. These are all directly devotional items. They are not ordinary charity. See the two pictures I have shown you. On the left side, you find somebody has a good heart to donate money for poor children, or he is donating some wheelchair for a lame person or something. These are also pious acts, but not devotional acts. On the right side, you find that they are all performing a devotional act of yajna for Lord Vishnu. That's called the devotional act. And one should know the difference between the two clearly. Pious activities are mundane, material, and devotional acts lead to spiritual security. But some people don't know the difference, so they mix both also, as they are saying. Yeah. So therefore, he's saying indiscriminate material piety leads to spiritual piety. He says, unknowingly one may, yeah. Okay. Yeah. This I told you. Third one is these spiritually pious acts. Read that.
These spiritually pious acts are especially performed when pious people are not discriminating in their practices. For example, they give charity indiscriminately to anyone who begs from them, including the Vaishnavas. These devotional acts constitute real piety, the effects of which eventually accumulate and mature into pure faith and pure devotion.
Like, for example, we all know the story of Durga king. Two Brahmanas came to him. He gave 1,000 cows to one Brahmana and another 1,000 to another Brahmana. But one cow ran from the first herd to the second one. So the first Brahmana said, "How can you take back my cow which you gave it to me?" And then this king told the another Brahmana, "Please give back that one cow. Instead, I'll give you 1,000 more." But that fellow said, "No, no, no. You have given it to me already. I cannot give it back." So both Brahmanas became dissatisfied. So Durga became a lizard in the next life because of offending. So in Vedic charity, it's such a precise thing. If you commit mistakes, one may get a low birth also like that. But one good thing Durga did, he was indiscriminately giving dan to many people. So one of them who came to him to receive dan was a Brahmana Vaishnava who was building a Krishna temple. So unknowingly he gave him money donation for building Krishna temple. So he was born as a lizard in Dwarka. So the Yadus were playing in Dwarka and they saw the big lizard and then went back and told Krishna, "Hey Krishna, do you know there's a huge lizard?" So Krishna was brought there and Krishna put his lotus feet on the lizard. Next moment, the lizard turned into King Durga, beautifully shining everything. So, although he gave so much piety, pious charity to so many others, but the main thing that became very special was he gave for building a Krishna temple. Um, Therefore, he's saying like that. Then it becomes a pure faith and pure devotion for a period of time. In this way, many times people don't know. They think it's all the same. You know, you you give water to the public, you give pencils or pens or notebooks or uniforms, or you give to a temple. In fact, people foolishly argue that, why to give it to temple? These people are simply chanting and dancing. Let us give it to the poor people. So in this way, they are stripping themselves of the golden opportunity to become devotees. Instead of performing a devotional act, they are performing a pious act. I mean, they may be performing a mundane pious act. One fellow was telling me, "Swamiji, why you people build such a big NVCC temple? Instead, under a banyan tree, make one small temple like Ganesh they make, and then take all this money and give it to poor people." That means he's saying instead of devotional act, perform materially pious act. Because he is identifying with what? Material body. Therefore, for him, what is most appealing? material bodily act. The moment he understands I am not the body, I am the soul, everything material will be finished. Then he will be interested to perform devotional act after that. Then he is progressing spiritually. So therefore he is differentiating between the mundane pious deeds and spiritually pious acts. Yeah. See, material piety alone cannot give devotion.
Conditioned souls may conclude that pious deeds themselves give rise to devotion, but scripture and liberated souls disagree. Material piety and a mode of goodness atmosphere may bring people into contact with spiritual life, but because such things are material, they cannot cause full spiritual devotion. Only acts of devotion can cause devotion to arise in the heart.
Bhaktya,
Bhaktya
Sujataya.
Sanjataya Bhaktya.
So, like you see here, mm, that there's a Brahmana sitting with his son and wife and two other smaller kids also sitting watching there, and big plate of prasad, everything. It's a typical Brahmana's house. Yeah. Shishinam Shimatam Gehe Yoga Brashta Vijay, that is said. So here is a materially, he's a mode of goodness atmosphere is there at home. See, the boy is also folding palms, he's offering prayer, which is very good. Mm. Because it is still considered material without, and it cannot cause full spiritual devotion, he says. So actually, the Ajamila was also like this. Ajamila was a good Brahmana, but he did not know the glory of the holy name. He did not know the glory of Shuddha Bhakti. He was not aware of the Vaishnava Siddhanta properly. Although he was a Brahmana, he was Sadachari, he was a Shruta Sampanna, he was a Dridhavrata, all those things are said. Dridhavrata means he was rising in the morning and doing all those things. So therefore, one has to know that material piety, like below also you see all the people giving charity and all that, that cannot lead to devotion. He says material piety alone. So there has to be a contact with the Vaishnava devotee. Because Brahmana may not necessarily be a Vaishnava. Some Brahmanas are also impersonless. Some Brahmanas are also demigod worshippers. And some Brahmanas are multi demigod worshippers. They do like that. And some Brahmanas are people who study the six systems of philosophy, and they have very, very vague conceptions of God. So therefore, it's all material piety. But once they understand the Supreme Lord and through a Vaishnava devotee, then it becomes spiritual piety. Yeah. Here is the example given here. Yeah. Read the example.
A gracious host, famous for his piety, may in time become a Vaishnava. Seeing such a transformation, materialistic neighbors may conclude that material piety transformed the fellow into a Bhakta. But Vaishnavas will not agree. They will point out that the man's piety enabled him to invite Vaishnavas among his other guests into his home. The unwitting piety, Bhakti Unmukhi Sukruti, as his
The unwitting devotional service.
Oh, the unwitting devotional service of taking care of these Vaishnavas gave the host spiritual piety, Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti. As his spiritual piety accumulated, it enabled the gentle host to properly hear from the Vaishnavas. When mature, his spiritual piety then inspired him to sow the seed of devotion by embracing the Vaishnava's instructions. Thus, a host once famous for his hospitality became famous for his devotion. This is the relationship between the two types of piety, material and spiritual.
हॉस्पिटैलिटी मतलब हाँ ख्याल रखना.
Which one? Which one? Yeah. So you see, one man was coming to ISKCON temple, and then he was proudly telling new person. He's just chanting one round, chanting. He said, "My brother, he's a very charitable brother. He lives in a village, and every year he feeds food to 10,000 people." He was telling. He said, "Really? Such a nice person? 10,000 people is feeding is great." And then he said, "Yes, and during that time they cut 1,000 goats." He said, "My God, You are cutting 1,000 goats and feeding 10,000 people. Then this devotee told him about Mrigari pastime. Mrigari pastime, and told him how dangerous it is and all. And this devotee, one round the devotee, he went to village and he preached to his brother. Hey, you heard about Mrigari? And he heard the whole story. His brother came running to the city ISKCON temple to meet the devotee, and he met, and then he took mala, and both his brother started chanting 8 rounds. Then the elder brother started increasing round after seeing his younger brother. Next year, when he gave food, he gave not only vegetarian food, but he gave only Krishna prasadam after that. So in this way, he had a material piety, thinking I am a big pious person. He was actually incurring sin before. Now he stopped all the non-veg and everything, and then now he is offering prasadam now. In this way, what happens actually when you are doing material piety, sometimes unknowingly along with Brahmanas and Vaishnavas also will be there. That is how. So you can see it like gold and stone. Material piety is like stone, and spiritual piety is like gold. There will be gold. That becomes very special. Yeah, that's what he's saying. Yeah, please read this.
कुछ करना है?
The materially pious come to pure devotion by one of two ways: by unknowingly performing devotional acts such as chanting the Lord's holy name during a ceremonial observance, or by offering regular service with a purpose other than to please Krishna, such as for acquiring a good wife. These are examples of Bhakti Abhasha. From the point of purity, the first way, Agyata Sukriti, is free of ulterior motives. Thus, even though devoid of faith, it is superior to the second way, which involves mixed devotion. For example, scripture tells of a sinful hunter gored to death by a boar. When the hunter cried out, Haram, how horrible! He was at once liberated from sinful reaction because he indirectly uttered the name of Lord Rama.
So, see, he's saying from the point of purity, calling out to the name. For example, Ajamil called out Narayana very loudly. But did he have faith in Narayana? No. He called whom? Child. Similarly, this Muslim man, who was passing stool, and a pig was waiting, very hungry, and he was thinking, when will this man go away, and when I can eat stool? But then the man was taking long time to pass. Now the pig got very restless. He started attacking the man. And then this fellow, as soon as he saw pig coming and attacking his body, started shouting, Haram! Like that he shouted. So was he having great devotion to Ram? No. But the haram included the word Ram. That's what he is saying. Though devoid of faith, that means neither Rajamila nor this fellow attacked by boar had faith. And also it is free of ulterior motives, he is saying. Because, did the Muslim call the name Haram with Ram with some intention of getting something from Ram? No. Did Ajamila call out the name Narayana thinking that I will escape from sins? Well, many people make plans. You've seen that they say, Prabhuji, throughout life I enjoy. And then when I become 85 or 88, I'll take a gun. Hare Krishna. I said I should. People say like that. So some people have such so that is actually having ulterior motive, correct, no? But Rajamila called out Narayana without any ulterior motive. We can see that. That's what he's saying. If it's free of ulterior motives, devoid of faith, it is superior to the second way, which is going to explain, which involves mixed devotion. So here, from the point of purity, this is considered the highest occasional calling of loud proclamation of Lord's holy name. So that can have you can see Gajendra is calling, and actually Gajendra calling our Draupadi calling, it was actually very purposeful, because they wanted the Lord to be actually to save them from a particular type of situation. They actually addressed the Lord directly. Whereas if you see these two fellows, they didn't address the Lord. Therefore, he is saying it is devoid of faith and free from ulterior motives also, he says. But from the point of purity, because the holy name itself is so pure, therefore this is also glorified. But see the next page what he says. Here now. Here he says that, from the point of
From the point of consistency, however, the second way, regular service with ulterior motives, is more valuable than a single act of unwitting but unmotivated devotion. For instance, those who utter the name only once, like the hunter, surely increase their devotional credits and thus chant again in the future. But because their chanting lacks faith, they do not immediately achieve the steadiness required to advance further in devotional life. In the balance, then, regular motivated chanting, because it bestows advancement by its steadiness, is superior to occasional unmotivated chanting. Regular chanters continually increase their stock of spiritual piety, assuredly coming nearer and nearer to pure devotion. An example of this steady, unmotivated chanting is motivated chanting is found in the history of Dhruva Maharaj.
See, this is a secret which I was telling you. There, poor Prabhupada prescribed how many rounds? 16 rounds chanting and following four regulative principles steadily. So now our chanting is unmotivated or motivated? Motivated. We have many bhakti, mukti, siddhi aspirations are there. Uh, so it's motivated chanting, but what is special about it is steady. Whether you like or not, we have to complete it every day. Uh, so it's a regular, steady, motivated chanting. Like Dhruva Maharaj also appears very, very wonderful, standing in one leg and worshipping Vishnu. But the goal is to get what? The kingdom. It's a motivated, yeah. But although it's motivated because it's steadily performing, so that is going to explain more in the next slide. What happens exactly? Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Yes.
Regular motivated leads to regular unmotivated.
Eventually it becomes motivated. Now we want to know how the motivated becomes unmotivated. Yeah.
At the tender age of 5, Dhruva, the grandson of Swayambhuva Manu, retired alone to the Madhuvana forest and performed unprecedented austerities. His purpose, however, was motivated. He wanted to attain a kingdom greater than his father's. On the Lord's request, Narada Muni arrived to guide the boy's sadhana and to initiate him into the chanting of a Vishnu mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Enthused, Dhruva chanted with such determination that his Bhakti Unmukhi Sukriti matured in only 6 months. As a result, Lord Narayana personally appeared to fulfill Dhruva's desire. However, the semblance of devotion had so purified the boy's heart that he.
Semblance of devotion means bhakti abhas. Why it's called bhakti abhas? Anybody can say. Why it is not bhakti and bhakti abhas? Because this bhakti is not pure. It's motivated with some other goal. It's not Shuddha Bhakti directed to Vishnu. Ahetuka Pratiyata. It's not like that. It's looking like bhakti, but bhakti for some material motivation. Yeah. So one more thing he says here is bhakti unmukti sukriti matured. He's saying that means our bhakti unmukti sukriti is still in the stage of processing. It has not yet become matured. Because once it becomes mature, you see the Lord eye to eye. And also, however,
The semblance of devotion had so purified the boy's heart that he felt deeply ashamed of his selfishness. Finally, after Dhruva rejected the desire for wealth, Vishnu blessed him with pure devotion and a spiritual planet on which to reside eternally.
you see, even all of us have to check. I'm practicing Krishna consciousness so many years. What is happening to my heart? You will see that one time I heard when devotees used to go for yatra many years ago. The counselors were telling the counselees that now we have to climb a mountain now. So it will be very painful for you. Please give your bags. So the counselors gave their bags to their counselors, and they are walking without any difficulty. The counselor is wearing their bag along with the counselor's bag also, few bags. And then when they reached the top, and the counselor was telling, Prabhuji, Mataji, I have reached the top of the Tirupati hill, whatever. So they were thinking it's success that I have reached. Then 3 years later, again when they had to climb a hill, the counselors asked the counselors, please give your bags. This time did they give? No, they said, no, how can I give back to you? We should not take service from you. We are sorry. We will not give, they said. And 2-3 years later, again, the yatra went climbing up the hill. This time the counselor is telling the counselor, oh, Prabhuji, Mataji, you are little elderly, please give your bag and we will carry it on our shoulder. Like that they were saying. You see, that means they are progressing in their Krishna consciousness, maturity. Correct, no? So, in the same manner, Dhruva said, oh, I want a kingdom better than my grandfather even. But then when he became matured, he said, oh, I don't want. What is this? I'm getting Lord Vishnu himself. Huh? What is the need of getting a kingdom better than, you know, better than my grandfather? Useless. All mundane things are useless. So in this way, Dhruva became very mature. That's what he's saying. So regular motivated leads to regular unmotivated, he's saying. So here, this is the prayer of repentance, you all know very well. It's a very famous one. Sthana Vilashi means I aspired for a kingdom. I did tapasya. But Tvam Praptavan, you are like a diamond, my lord, I got you. Huh? And therefore, he's saying, Deva Munindra Guhyam, you are very rare even for the all the devatas and even for rishis and even Indra also. They all can't see you very easily. I came to forest searching for Kacham, a broken piece of glass. But you are a Divya Ratnam. I got you. I'm very thankful to you. So in this way, Dhruva Maharaj completely became, relieved of material desire. Here comes now these are very important points here. How these things happened is explaining. Yeah.
Shukadev Goswami details how Dhruva became free of material desire.
This is very important for us. Yes.
First, the touch of the Lord's conch shell made the boy perfectly aware of the Vedic conclusion, and he then understood the absolute truth and his relationship with all living entities. Second, thus situated in self realization, Dhruva recognized the folly of fruitive quests and the supremacy of pure devotion. Finally, freed from all material desire and blessed with transcendental knowledge, Dhruva became wise. In this way, steady mixed devotion quickly led Dhruva to the ultimate means of perfection.
So here you find one thing, the knowledge got awakened. The same thing happens to Prahalad also. When Lord Narsimha keeps his hand on the head of Prahalad, he becomes completely enlightened, it is said. So the touch of Lord Narsimha's hand on the head of Prahalad completely enlightened him. And because that enlightenment is like switching on a light in a dark room. When you switch on a light in a dark room, then everything you see the things as they are. Same thing when Lord touched the shank to the head of Dhruva, he also became enlightened in the Vedic conclusion. Then one can see what is material, what is spiritual. I was desiring something mundane, material, fruity, useless. So right now, because we are in darkness, everything looks one. We don't know the difference between what is material, what is spiritual. We are foolish. So therefore, he is saying, Tesham Jnani Nitya Yukta Eka Bhakti Vishishate. Why out of the four people, the fourth one is glorified? Because he is getting enlightened to know what is spiritual, what is material. That means we all have to become enlightened in our life with the proper knowledge of what is material, what is spiritual. And then we will feel ashamed for our material desires with full understanding. Like that he is saying. So here the summary is given here. If you see in the Bhagavata, Krishna gives recognition to the Jnani. Why? And Dhruva's history explains why. Until he became wise, his bhakti abhas could not be purified. Therefore, knowledge, the wise Jnanis, of whom Krishna speaks of, fully realize the nature of Atma. Now they know that Krishna is Supreme Self, worthy of veneration. So they know, that means if you know about, see, if a person doesn't know Atma body difference, it's called as a Mudha. Uttраmantam siddham vapi bhunjanamban gunan vitam vimudhana anupashyanti pashyanti jnana chakshushaha. One who does not know difference between body and soul. But if you know difference between body and soul, then you are called as a dhira, not a muda. Dhiras tatra na mujyate, 2.13 verse says that. Now, one more mudha is a person who does not know difference between soul and God. He thinks both are same. This is 9.11. Avajananti mam mudha manushim tanumashritam, he says. But those people who know the difference between soul and super soul, They are also called as dhira. So dhira should know two things. To know difference between body and soul and super soul. Then that knowledge has to be awakened. Yeah. Second is surrender. To know Krishna better, they surrender into him. And Sri Prabhupada emphasizes two outstanding characteristics of the wise people: full knowledge of spirit and a relative purity of purpose. Prabhupada says. So, as the knowledge of spirit awakens more and more, the purpose also becomes more and more purer. So Krishna summarizes the effect of these two traits that they have on the wise people. He says, I am very dear to the jnanis. Priyo hi jnanotyartham, he says. That means, once the knowledge awakens, you become, like for example, a teddy bear is the object of affection for a child. All the time he's running after teddy bear and, tricycle and all that. As long as the mother or father is away. But when the mother or father come and pick up the child and take him to the garden and plays with the child thinks this is more enjoyable. Because, when the parents are throwing me up in the air. Like I remember my father used to sit and put his two legs like this and he used to tell us to stand on the leg, and then he would lift the leg like this. Oh, it will be like very nice, like going up like this. He would catch our two hands. So you can keep your two leg on your father's two leg, and then when he moves leg like this, you also go up. And this is more enjoyable than playing with the teddy bear. Teddy bear is a dead commodity, dead thing. Similarly, the jivas also realize that playing with the material existence is like glitter and glamour of the dead world. It's not as appealing as playing with Krishna. So, therefore, in this way, the more we become jnanis and knowledgeable, we become more awakened, like Dhruva became awakened. Yeah, yeah. Please read this also. Jigan's title also should be okay.
Jigyasa, passive adoration.
Jignasu. No, no, the first one is Jignasu, seeking the truth.
Ah, Jigyasu, seeking truth. Better but still an impure motivation. Jigyasa, passive adoration. Purity, to seek the truth, although still an impure motivation, that is, it is aimed at something other than Krishna's pleasure, is the next best thing to a pure motive because it is on the platform of passive adoration.
Yeah. Actually, Jignasu fellows want to figure out God. Their goal is not to surrender to God. No. Is this what you are saying? Is that what you are saying? They are more interested in knowing who He is than to fall in love with Him. No? Like Vijayabasis are not like that. Vijayabasis are lovers of Krishna. Whereas the Jignasu people are more in a mood of just knowing about God just out of curiosity's sake. Therefore, it is impure, is saying. Yeah.
Purity, faith. This neutral
Leads to faith.
leads to faith. This neutral affection for Krishna manifests itself in the wise due to their purity of heart. To the degree that the heart is pure, to the degree that it will develop faith.
And faith leads to knowledge, and knowledge leads to love. Step by step it is developed. Yeah, yes.
To the degree that the heart develops faith, to that degree it can realize the absolute. And to the degree that one possesses transcendental knowledge, to that degree one can love Krishna. Krishna confirms this in the Gita. Being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me.
Yeah. Bhagavo jnana tapasa. Puta madbhavamagata. He says. That means, we all need a jignasa. Atato brahma jignasa. Jivasya tattva jignasa. So if we have that jignasa gradually will bring us to the super soul. Then repeatedly observing the Lord and His nature and studying everything, that leads to purity. We become purer because we get free from contaminations by seeing the purest of the pure. Param Brahma, Param Dhamma, Pavitram, Paramam Bhavan. Or we say, in Asia Upanishad it is said, Sapariyagat Chokramakayam Abranam Asnaviram Shuddham Apapa Vidham. So Lord is so Shuddham and Pavitram. So by associating with Him in a gradual understanding, Jignasa leads to purity, purity leads to faith, faith leads to knowledge, and knowledge leads to love. In this way, how the third category of the four fellows, which is Jignasu, he will also ultimately come to knowledge and love. He's saying, yeah. So, I As you see here, to the degree the purity of heart is there, to that degree the development of faith, to that degree realization of the absolute truth, and to that degree one can love Krishna. That means, seeking the truth is a passive adoration, neutral affection, like Shantras kind of thing. But then as the purity of heart increases, then the faith also, that means, people who have purer and purer heart can have the capacity to have more and more faith. So the innocence, simplicity, purity, just like the South Indian Brahmana or the old Orison lady. They were innocent and pure-hearted. So we all can pray that, my Lord, please, throw out all the contaminations of my heart, duplicity, and such kinds of nature. So let me have a simple heart and an innocent heart. Just like Hanuman had such an innocent heart. One day he saw Mother Sita having a kumkum. He asked, why you are wearing kumkum, Mother? What she said? Oh, Lord Ram likes me wearing this. So immediately he went to market and purchased kumkum powder packet and put all over his body and came in front of Ram and stood and he wanted to see how Ram responds. Ram was laughing like anything. Hanuman was satisfied that at least I am able to make the Lord laugh at me. And Lord asked Hanuman, why are you dressing today like this, all over the body with reddish? He said, my Lord, I came to know Mother Sita told me that you are happy with the kumkum. So if you are happy with little kumkum, how much more you will be happy if I wear all over the body kumkum? That Ram enjoyed the attitude of Hanuman, you see. He was so simple-hearted. So in this way, then the faith develops, and then the realization of absolute truth develops. Then one can love the Lord. These are the steps are explained here. Yeah. So, yeah, therefore Krishna extols the wise, the fourth category, knowledgeable in devotion, although it's only a semblance of devotion. By singling out the seekers of the truth, Krishna indirectly instructs the other three classes of pious men to cultivate knowledge. That means, Artho, Jignasa, Artharthi should do what? Cultivate knowledge. That's what Prabhupada said, Bhakti Shastri, then Bhakti Vaibhava, Bhakti Vedanta, Bhakti Siddhanta, all that. Because we're cultivating knowledge from Prabhupada's books, because Prabhupada is a pure devotee, and his books are the basis for our society. By cultivating that knowledge, gradually, ultimately, it will end up in love for Krishna. As Prabhupada writes, without being elevated to the position of a jnani or a wise man, a devotee cannot stick to the principle of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That means people who are doing chanting and other things without reading Prabhupada's books and developing deep understanding, their worship will become ritualistic over a period of time and will become hackneyed and stereotyped and sometimes boring also. Therefore, we should regularly be in touch with sound vibrations, spiritual sound vibration. In other words, if devotees do not become selfless through wisdom, material desires will inevitably distract them from serving the Lord. What a powerful statement you see. If devotees don't become selfless, that means all these four fellows are selfish. Generally, out of the four, Jnani is best. So, Jnani is more or less selfless. If you are not selfless, the material desires will inevitably distract us from serving the Lord. Like we say, Bhoga Ishwari Prasaktanam Taya Apahrita Chetasam. That's what he is saying, yeah. So he is saying, this is a conclusion. The most commentator's opinion, distressed, inquisitive, and seekers of wealth all become wise by cultivating spiritual knowledge. Like Vishwanath Chaitanya says that. Malayalam Devotion says that those who are looking to gain wealth or to mitigate distress must first become inquisitive, he says. And this inquisitiveness leads them to knowledge. Knowledge then leads them to wisdom, and wisdom to pure bhakti. Either stance, however, recognizes that in order to cast off the shackles of shadowy devotion, realized knowledge is required. Yeah. So this is the next class, we will do that. Indirect path to Krishna. Shri Prabhupada ki, or Bhakta Vrinda ki. It has become 9:30. I will not take any questions today. If any of your questions, you can send me to, voicemedia.pune